All of us are continuously exposed to radiation from both natural and man-made sources. The word radiation has many meanings, and there are many types of radiation. Television and radio waves, radar and visible light are all examples of radiation, and none of these cause harm to living organisms under normal conditions. These lower energy types of radiation are called non-ionizing radiation. The other general category of radiation is called ionizing radiation. Ionizing radiation is higher in energy than non-ionizing radiation and can damage living cells. It comes from radioactive materials, including naturally occurring radioactive elements found on Earth, cosmic rays from space, and man-made radiation sources such as medical X-rays. The level of radiation from naturally occurring sources to which we are exposed on a daily basis is called background radiation, and it varies throughout the world depending on such factors as altitude, soil conditions, and location on Earth. There are four main types of ionizing radiation: alpha particles, beta particles, gamma rays, and neutrons. Alpha particles may be ejected from the nucleus of an atom during radioactive decay. They are relatively heavy and only travel about an inch in air. Alpha particles can easily be shielded by a single sheet of paper and cannot penetrate the outer dead layer of skin, so they pose no danger when their source is outside the human body. Beta particles are essentially electrons emitted from the nucleus of a radioactive atom. They are lighter than alpha particles and can travel farther in air, up to several yards. Very energetic beta particles can penetrate up to 1/2 an inch through skin and into the body. They can be shielded with less than an inch of material such as plastic. In the case of lower energy beta particles, the outer layer of clothing can act as an effective shield. Gamma rays can be emitted from the nucleus of an atom during radioactive decay. They are able to travel tens of yards or more in air and can easily penetrate the human body. Shielding this very penetrating type of ionizing radiation requires thick, dense material, such as several inches of lead or concrete. Neutrons can be released from the nucleus of an atom during a fission reaction, such as within a nuclear reactor or upon detonation of a nuclear weapon. Neutrons, like gamma rays, are very penetrating, and several feet of concrete is needed to shield against them. If radioactive materials are released into the environment as the result of a terrorist attack or accident, people could be exposed to higher than background levels of ionizing radiation that could contaminate them and their surroundings. When vaporized radioactive material is released into the atmosphere, it cools, condenses into solid particles, and falls back to Earth. These particles can be carried by the wind as a plume and can contaminate surfaces far from the explosion itself, including food and water supplies. This phenomenon is known as fallout. When a person is near a source of radiation, some type of radioactive material, he or she can be exposed to the radiation emitted by this source. However, he or she does not become contaminated. One way to think about exposure is to think about X-rays. When a person has a chest X-ray, he or she is exposed to radiation, but does not become contaminated with radioactive material. A person can reduce his or her exposure to radiation if he or she is shielded in some ways from the radiation. For example, if the person is behind a concrete wall or if the radioactive source is inside of a lead container. In order to become contaminated, radioactive material must get on the skin or clothing, or inside the body. For example, if radioactive material is incorporated into a dirty bomb, a conventional explosive such as dynamite that has been laced with radioactive material, then people could become contaminated when the device is detonated. Radioactive material on the outside of the body is called external contamination. When a person becomes externally contaminated, simply removing the clothing can remove up to 90% of the contamination. Gently washing the skin and the hair can remove most of the remaining contamination. If a person ingests or inhales radioactive material, it can become incorporated in the organs of the body. This is called internal contamination. When a person is internally contaminated, depending on the type of radioactive material with which they were contaminated, certain medications can be administered to speed up the rate at which the radioactive material is eliminated from the body. For example, Prussian blue is an effective drug that can be used to eliminate cesium from the body, and was used on animals following the Chernobyl incident, so the population could drink animal milk and eat meat. Potassium iodine tablets were also taken by many people to counter the negative effects of the iodine-131 gas that was released during the accident. Once released, radioactive materials remain a threat to the environment for varying periods of time. The long half-life of some radioactive elements, such as cesium, presents difficult challenges, since people may be exposed to a contaminated environment for many years unless action is taken to decontaminate the area affected by the accident.